Smriti-Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat-padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakritav Vande Bhagavantav Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaye Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Namah Pranavarthaye Shuddha Jnanaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaye Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This Pratibhasika Jiva and Jagat, Swapna Kalpita Jiva and Jagat are very useful. They help us to understand the reality because of the Pratibhasika, in Pratibhasikam, Vyavaharikam is Avritam, it's covered. So the person we recognize, the Jiva in Pratibhasika Jagat, has only one reality. Pratibhasikam is Paramarthikam. It is not even Vyavaharikam. It is Paramarthikam. And the person, the Jiva in the Vyavaharika Jagat, he sees the Pratibhasika Jagat and the Pratibhasika Jiva as non-self-existent, as himself. Pratibhasikam thus Pratiti-kale eva bhasamanatvat. It is available for perception only during the pendency of the dream. So he concludes that that is Vidya. It has a starting point, it has an ending point. But then he therefore understands Pratibhasikam. But for him, the Vyavaharika Jiva and the Vyavaharika Jagat are real. For him, everything that happens in the Vyavaharika Jagat, the karma he does, the karma phala he enjoys, his own house, his relation to other people, everything is real. But by using this example, Drishtanta, that the Pratibhasika Jiva sees Pratibhasika Jagat as real. He says, I am real and this Jagat is real. He knows only that much. As far as he is concerned, it is all Paramarthikam. Only when he comes to the Vyavaharika state, which is when the dream is over, he recognizes that that was not real. Then he goes to Vyavaharika and says, this is real. The Vyavaharika Jiva accepts the Vyavaharika Jagat and the Vyavaharika Jiva as real. When can he get out of that? Only when he is able to see it from the Paramarthika perspective. To him, this is Paramarthika, doesn't even look at another possibility. That includes all of us. In the waking state, where we are Vyavaharika Jiva, we are thinking of all this. The toe you stub on the stone is real, the stubbing is real, the pain is real. Everything is real. It is easy to come out of the Pratibhasika Swapna Jagat because it's a natural process. You wake up. And that whole Jagat which was created by the dreamer ends. That Jagat which is created from his own knowledge, which he gathered in the Vyavaharika state. The Vyavaharika Jiva picked up a lot of knowledge from the Vyavaharika Jagat. And some of it projects. By covering the Vyavaharika Jiva. There is no Vyavaharika Jiva. But that is easy to understand because that Pratibhasika Jagat and the Jiva end. How can you do it in the Vyavaharika state? This Vyavaharika Jiva, one might think, ends when the body dies. But every pramana, every text, whether it belongs to any religion, says that is not true. The Pratibhasika Jiva dies. The Vyavaharika Jiva does not die with the Vyavaharika Sharira. That Jiva continues. Because what did he call the Jiva? That Chaitanyam, which is apparently limited by the Upadhi. The Chidabhasa is the samsari. But the Avachinna Chaitanyam is what he called Paramarthika, as though limited by the Upadhis. He doesn't see. So for him to be able to see that, for any Manushya to be able to see that there is a Paramarthika perspective is itself very difficult. You can't get out of this. So in that sense, these three are wonderful ways of analyzing this. The Pratibhasika Jiva assumes Vastavitvam to the Pratibhasika Jiva and Jagat. That is Vastavam. The Vyavaharika Jiva accepts that as being unreal and says what is Vastavam is this. Till knowledge takes place, till the other perspective of Paramarthika perspective begins to happen, this remains true. So in these next 3-4 verses, the author explores this. Try and help us understand the situation we are in. Where are we looking? What do we assume to be real? What do we know to be mithya? So from verse 39 onwards, that 40, 41, 42, 3-4 verses. Pratiti kala evaite
प्रतीतिकाले एवैते
स्थितत्वात् प्रातिभासिके
स्थितत्वात्
प्रातिभासिके
Hold down. प्रतीतिकाल एवैते
प्रतीतिकाले वैते
एवैते
स्थितत्वात् प्रातिभासिके
न हि स्वप्नप्रबुद्धस्य
न हि स्वप्न
बुद्धस्य
सुप्तस्य
पुनः स्वप्ने स्थितिस्तयोः
पुनः स्वप्ने स्थितिस्तयोः
प्रातिभासिकजीवो यः
प्रातिभासिकजीवो यः
तच्जगत्प्रातिभासिकम्
तज्जगत्प्रातिभासिकम्
वास्तवं मन्यतेऽन्यस्तु
वास्तवं
वास्तवं
मन्यते
मन्यते
यस्तु
यस्तु
मिथ्येति व्यावहारिकः
मिथ्येति
व्यावहारिकः
व्यावहारिकजीवो यः
व्यावहारिकजीवो
व्यावहारिकजीवो
यः
यः
तज्जगद्व्यावहारिकम्
तज्जगद्व्यावहारिकम्
सत्यं प्रत्येति मिथ्येति
सत्यं
सत्यं
प्रत्येति
प्रत्येति
मिथ्येति
मिथ्येति
मन्यते पारमार्थिकः
मन्यते पारमार्थिकः
पारमार्थिकः
पारमार्थिकजीवस्तु
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 ब्रह्मैक्यं पारमार्थिकम्
ब्रह्मैक्यं पारमार्थिकम्
पारमार्थिकम्
प्रत्येति वीक्ष्यते नान्यत्
प्रत्येति वीक्ष्यते नान्यत्
नान्यते
वीक्ष्यते त्वनृतात्मना
वीक्ष्यते त्वनुतात्मना
प्रतीतिकाल एवैते स्थितत्वात् प्रातिभासिके. This प्रातिभासिकम, we can do अन्वय in this. Yete means what? These two, dual. The swapna jiva, pratibhasika jiva, and the pratibhasika jagat. Yete, these two. Pratiti kala eva sthitatvat pratibhasike. They exist only during the pratiti kala, during the pendency of the dream. As long as you are able to perceive that, it is there. Pratiti kala eva yete jiva and jagat. Pratiti kala eva sthitatvat, being, because they are existent only in the pratiti kala, they are pratibhasike. They start when the dream starts. They end when the dream ends. That is the pratiti kala. In the dream, remember that Jagat includes time and space. It's a new time, new space that has been created. Why do I say new time and new space? Because the time that you see in the Swapna Prapancham is very different from the time you see in the Jagrat Prapancham. Typically, a Swapna lasts 2-3 seconds of our waking time. But in the dream, you might be playing a cricket match, 5-day match. Very detailed description of all the five days. You could dream that you grew up from childhood to adulthood, several years. All that within 2 seconds of waking time. So you've created a new time altogether. Same thing with space. Where does the dream take place? In the buddhi only. The projection from the buddhi only. That knowledge is projected because the knowledge is gained and stored in the buddhi. It's only memory. How much space is there? Limited space. Don't look at it in the view of so many gigabytes. But physically, the space available is so small. But you create a whole stadium. You create a whole mountain. How did that space fit into this space? It didn't. It is just the space itself is new, it's different space. So this Jagat that this dreamer has created, Jiva Shashtam Pratibhasikam, exists as long as you can perceive it. Everything there exists as long as you can perceive it. Dream finishes, there is no pratiti. You wake up, there is no pratiti. From the dream, you can wake up either to a sleep state, deep sleep state, or you can wake up to a Jagrat state. If the dreamer wakes up to a waking state, the chances are that he'll remember the dream. And he can describe bulk of it to somebody else. This happened, I was there. I was a multimillionaire. And I was donating so much to so many causes. But here he may be sleeping on the platform. He may remember. Like our famous dream of King Janaka. King Janaka dreamt that he was begging on the streets. And then he had this question. Is that real or is this real? Am I the beggar who thinks I am the king? Or am I the king who, for a short term, thought I was the man begging on the street? Which is real? Answer, of course, is neither. But depends on which way you look at it. If you look at it from the Pratibhasika perspective, that is real. There is no King Janaka. But if you look at it from the Vyavaharika perspective, that is Mithya. King Janaka is true. But if you look at both from the Paramarthika perspective, neither is real. Both are Mithya. So Pratita Kala eva ete stitatvat, ete dve stitatvat, they are called Pratibhasike. Pratiti Kala eva bhasanmanatvat Pratibhasika. They are available, they are visible, only perceptible only in that Pratiti Kala. So that the Pratibhasika Jiva considers himself to be real and his Jagat around him, with which he interact, which is the cause for fear within the dream, to be real. Therefore, it causes real fear or real other emotions within the dream. Vyavaharika is not known. Waking state is not known to the Pratibhasika Jiva. That Jagat he created does not even last and does not get recreated. Remember, the Jagat he created, every dreamer creates is based on his memory. Only projection of his memory. Vasana. And that gets projected when the next time he dreams, it may not be the same. Once he may dream that he is a person begging on the street, struggling for food. Another time he may dream that is owner of a big restaurant. The world he creates is different. The jiva he creates need not be the same. So he says, because of this, nahi swapna prabuddhasya punaswapne sthitis tayoho. Tayoho, these two, they are not there when the swapna is gone, when waking up. Swapna prabuddhasya sthiti tayoho na. Nor are they available in the same form punaswapne. Another dream he dreams the next day or the day after or 10 days later is not the same. Whereas in our Vyavaharika Jiva, you wake up to the same Vyavaharika reality. You go to sleep with a problem, you wake up next day, the problem continues. You go to sleep a millionaire, you wake up a millionaire. Unless in the night there has been a raid, income tax raid, and all your million is gone. Accounts are frozen. So there it's different from the swapna. Because the universe you create is different. Here the universe is only within the limited knowledge of the dreamer projected within that. There it is Ishvara Shrishtam. That Jagat is Ishvara Shrishtam. Therefore, I don't create or destroy that. Pratibhasikam being Jiva Shrishtam, I create and I destroy it. I create, I sustain, and into me it resolves. So as far as the Pratibhasika Jagat is concerned, including the Pratibhasika Jiva, are created. I am the creator, I am the sustainer, and I am the resolver as well. Since the Vyavaharika Jiva is Ishvara Shrishtam, that Jagat which is created, the Vyavaharika Jagat, including the Vyavaharika Jiva, are Ishvara Shrishtam, sustained by Ishvara, resolves into Ishvara. Now look at this. This Jiva, or the Vyavaharika Jiva, he is Ishvara for the entire Prapancham in the Pratibhasika. The Vyavaharika Jagat, there is an Ishvara who is creator, sustainer, and resolver. This Jiva is no more Satyam. How did the Ishvara create the Jagat? Maya Shakti. Avarana Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti. That's why it's so important to understand this idea of Maya Shakti. Nahi swapna prabuddhasya punaswapne stitistayoho. In the Pratibhasika Jagat, I see, therefore it is. It's real. In the Vyavaharika Jagat, it is there, therefore I see. It is there means what? Only in the Vyavaharika transactional Jagat, empirical Jagat. And because the person is in the empirical Jagat, there is no empirical Jagat. What a funny thing to happen. Because for him, it is all Paramarthik. They are only Paramarthik. And Pratibhasikam, which he knows he is creating. In fact, I was wondering, can there be a situation where the dreamer is dreaming, and in the dream, the same person is dreaming one more dream and ad infinitum? Possible. Dream within a dream. Like some of these paintings you've seen, no? The painter is painting somebody painting, and in that somebody is painting, in that somebody is painting. Like the dream within a dream. So Pratibhasika Jagat and Pratibhasika Jiva 1. And Pratibhasika Jagat and Pratibhasika Jiva 2. Pratibhasika Jagat and Pratibhasika Jiva 3, and so on. But all of them are because of Brahmani Sthita Maya. Brahmani Avasthita Maya. Therefore, they're all in Brahman only, with Brahman as the Adhisthana. Brahman is the Adhishthanam, because there's only one. Everything else is Arupa, superimposed. And that we should always remember as though superimposed. There is no superimposed. There is nothing to superimpose. Only Brahman. Everything is Brahmani Sthita. You know, when you give this example, you will see, notice that Shastra never gives an example of rope snake. Chandogya Upanishad gives 9 different examples. Most common of which is pot and clay. And some which others like is gold ornaments and gold. But never rope snake. Rope snake is used to understand Pratibhasika. That the pot is mithya. Within this Vyavaharika Jagat, we need to understand the pot is mithya. And when you see the pot, we see the satyam of the pot as clay. Where is the potness? That which makes the pot a pot. Is it in the pot? Or is it in the clay? There is no potness. Because there is no pot. Clay doesn't have potness. Clay is clay. But you create a mithya pot. That which exists and doesn't exist. Borrowing this wonderful power from Maya. Only Namarupa. Whole Jagat is only Namarupa, because on analysis, on Vichara, nothing is left. Everything breaks down into more names and more forms, which further breaks down into more names. Therefore, there is none. You can't think of a name and say that is the object. Every object is an object that has been assembled, put together, and can be dismantled into various parts, all of which have a name and a form. Right? In Dakshinamurti Sutram, Swapne Jagrati Vaya Yesha Purushaha Maya Paribhramitaha. That power of Maya, which both in the Pratibhasika Jagat and in the Vyavaharika Jagat creates this Brahma. So this Pratitikala eva Titatvat Pratibhasiki. This will not come again. So now this is the explanation is given for Pratibhasikam. what happens in Vyavaharika Jagat? He says, Vyavaharika Jagat and Pratibhashika Jagat, the difference is like this. Pratibhashika Jivaha Yaha Tat Jagat Pratibhashikam. Vastavam Manyate Anyahatu Vityeti Vyavaharika. That Pratibhashika Jivaha, which is, we know is only a Mithya Jiva, because very easy to figure out. Yaha Pratibhashika Jivaha Tat Jagat Pratibhashikam. That Pratibhashika Jagat Vastavam Manyate. That Pratibhashika Jiva takes that Pratibhashika Jiva and the Pratibhashika Jagat as Vastavam. Anyahatu, which is the Anya, one is Pratibhashikam, other is Vyavaharika Jiva. Pratibhashika Jiva accepts that Jiva and the Pratibhashika Jagat as real, Vastavam. Anyaha, the Vyavaharika Jiva, Anyaha means Vyavaharikaha. Anyaha Vyavaharikaha Mityeti. Mityeti Manyate. He understands that Pratibhashika Jagat to be Mithya, because he is woken up. Prabodha same ya pratyabhijñāyate. He is woken up to the reality of the Vyavaharika Jagat. And therefore is able to see the Pratibhashika Jagat as Mithya, as himself, as non-self-existing, cannot exist without I. Not only the Pratibhashika Jagat, he also sees that the Pratibhashika Jiva is also Mithya. He created the Jiva. He sustained it as long as the dream was there. And when the dream finished, it resolved back into him, into his knowledge, jnanam. So that illusory jiva, illusory meaning Mithya Jiva, I don't like the word illusory, thinks that the Mithya Jagat, Pratibhashika Jagat is real. But the empirical Jiva, having seen this, says, no, that is Mithya. So the world perceived in the dream, understood as Mithya. Because that Pratibhashika Jiva is a Karta Bhokta within the Pratibhashika Jagat. I do, I enjoy. But he doesn't know that he is nothing but the dreamer's jnanam. Till he wakes up. Then the Vyavaharika Jiva says, no, that is not the Karta Bhokta. I am the Karta Bhokta. I am the Sansari. I do and I enjoy. Or suffer, whichever it is. So the Vyavaharika Jiva and the Pratibhashika Jiva, if they are understood correctly, we are one step ahead of the game. We know now we can move on to possibility of Paramarthika Jiva. Neither the dream experience nor the waking experience can be considered real. They are opposed to each other many times. I am a hungry man in the dream. I am a fulfilled man in the waking state. Which is real? Therefore, Janaka's question. You know, if you ask a question like that, the normal tendency is to immediately say, no, Janaka is the real. The man begging on the street is not real. That the man begging on the street is not real, easy to see. But is Janaka real? How do you say which is real? Therefore, all his courtiers could not answer his question. It took an Ashtavakra to explain to Janaka what we are trying to study. Which is real? Fact is, neither is real. To understand this, we need to understand Satyam and Mithya. What is Satyam? What is Mithya? We say that from the Vyavaharika perspective, everything in the dream is Mithya. Sat asatbhyam anirvachaniyam. Because it is real. Svakale satyavad bhati. Prabhode sat asat. It is real. And yet, Prabhode Sami, it is not real. Beautiful listing of Maya. Maya itself, we've seen, is neither real nor unreal. You cannot classify Maya as real or unreal. Because it is not a separate thing from Brahman. Brahmani avastita Maya. With Brahman as the adhishthanam. With rope as the adhishthanam, our snake is real. That snake can generate all the reactions that a real snake can. Real meaning, Vyavaharika snake can. Be careful using the word real. It can invoke fear, disgust. These creepy qualities I don't like. Even when it doesn't exist. Therefore, it is real and yet not real. Because there is an adhishthanam. Without an adhishthanam, you don't get this. There has to be a rope. Only when there's a rope can you recognize that you made a mistake. When you switch on the light, when jnanam arises, rope is seen. When jnanam arises, the jagat is seen, the Vyavaharika jagat is seen as not real. Oh, this is all only one Advitiya Brahman. Pratabhasika Jivaha, Yaha Pratabhasika Jivaha, Tad Jagat Pratibhasikam Vastavam Manyate. It accepts. So from within the dream, everything in the dream is real. But when you wake up, you become Vyavaharika Jiva, Vyavaharikaha, Anyaha, to indicate contrast. However, Mithya iti manyate. Thank God, it was only a dream. Thank God, it is not real. That fulfilled man who has eaten a full meal dreams of himself as a hungry man, wakes up and says, thank God, I get my meals regularly. That was only a pratibhasika projection. That man in the Vyavaharika Jagat, remember the imagery we created? Who is struggling in the samsara. Sometimes dukkha, sometimes relative sukha, physical dukkha, emotional dukkha, intellectual dukkha. Leads a life, it goes like dukkha, 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 sukha, sukha, dukkha, 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 sukha, dukkha, 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 sukha. Says, why should I have to go through all this? He has no choice. As long as he's seeing within that, he only sees that, experiences that, and he thinks it's real. Like that fellow in the dream when he was struggling with his hunger, was really struggling, was really hungry. Prabodha Samaye is full. He doesn't need anything. Same way, this fellow struggling with all the dukkha, all the grief, like Arjuna. What did Bhagavan tell Arjuna? Ashocyan anvashocastvam. You're grieving for things there's no need to grieve for. They're not real. You only have to understand by using the drishtanta that what you thought was real is not so. Because the Vyavaharika Jiva understands that the Pratibhasika suffering is not real. The same way the Paramarthika Jiva, Brahman. See, that is why you say Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. One who understands Brahman as I, then for him this is like a dream. It's not a dream, it's like a dream. That's why the Drishtanta. All that I'm struggling so hard to do, all that suffering that I'm going through, none of it is real. Therefore, I am Brahman. Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. Once I am Brahman, then nothing. Same thing with the fellow in the dream. I've had a full meal. I don't recognize it. Because in my dream, I'm a hungry man. When I recognize that as the Vyavaharika Jiva, who's had a full meal, can say, thank God. Because he is now a fulfilled man. As far as the dream is concerned, here he has his own problems. Which problem they have got to look at from the Paramarthika perspective? Amazing. The whole thing is so easy to understand if you understand. Because the Paramarthika Jiva, the Vyavaharika Jiva says this Vyavaharika Jagat is Satyam. Pratibhasika Jiva says the Pratibhasika Jagat is Satyam. When he wakes up, becomes a Vyavaharika Jiva, he sees that as Mithya, but then he says this is Satyam. When he recognizes the truth, the Vyavaharika Satyam, then he sees this also as Mithya and only Vyavaharika as Satyam. Paramarthika as Satyam. Because the Adhishthanam, like our rope snake, what you see projected on the Adhishthanam is non-separate from the Adhishthanam. Is the Adhishthanam. The entire Swapna Jagat is non-separate from the Adhishthanam, the Vyavaharika Jiva's Jnanam. The entire Vyavaharika Jiva we see is non-separate from its Adhishthanam, the Brahman. So once you realize that example can be extended here, adhisthānam ananyatvat. That is why the word ananya is so important. Jiva is Ishvara ananyat. But if you attach Ishvaratvam to Ishvara and Jivatvam to Jiva, they look very different. We saw that any Tvam you attach is Vidya, not to be taken into account. Brahmani avastitha maya, from which everything else flows. The Vyavaharika Jagat flows, the Pratibhasika Jagat also flows from there, which uses Brahman as adhisthānam. So he says the Paramarthika Jiva also you should understand. Vyavaharika Jivo yaha tad-jagat vyavaharikam satyam pratyeti mityeti manyate paramarthikaha. Same extension from the previous verse. There he said Pratabhasika Jivaha yaha Pratabhasika Jivaha tad-jagat pratibhasikam vastavam manyate. He sees, he considers that Jagat to be real, Vastavam. Here he says, Vyavaharika Jivaha, Yaha Vyavaharika Jivaha, Tad Jagat Vyavaharikam, that Vyavaharikam Jagat, Satyam Pratyeti. That Vyavaharika Jiva, Yaha Vyavaharika Jivaha, Tad Jagat, Tad Jagat Vyavaharika Jagat, Tad Jagat Vyavaharikam Satyam Pratyeti. The Vyavaharika, the empirical Jiva, assumes that Vyavaharika Jagat, empirical Jagat, is real. He sees it as real. But Paramarthika, the one who has seen the Paramarthika, Paramarthika, Tat Jagat Mithya iti manyate. Sees the Mithyatvam of the Jagat that we experience. That empirical Jiva sees the empirical world as real. Therefore, everything is real. Possessions I have is real. The hate somebody has for me is real. The trip I went on is real. Everything is real. But the Paramarthika Jiva, the one who has understood Aham Brahmosmi, immediately is able to recognize that this Jagat, the Vyavaharika Jagat, which he till then considered as being real, is only Mithya. Exactly the way the Vyavaharika Jiva considered the Jagat in the Pratibhasika state as Mithya. Once this person recognizes Aham Brahmosmi, he also sees the Vyavaharika Jagat as Mithya. The Satya-Mithya relationship. There is nothing more than that. That which is Satyam can only be one. Satyam is defined as what? That which remains unchanging. When we say unchanging, it can be only in relation to unchanging in relation to time. What it is today will remain tomorrow. Unchanging with respect to place. What is true here is also true there. And in relation to all the objects around. Not affected by Desha Kala Vastu. Desha Kala Vastu Anavachinna, not limited by, not controlled by. If you understand this, that this Desha, Kala, Vastu, everything is Mithya, then how can Satyam be effective? That is Satyam. Relative to the Pratibhasika Jagat, the Vyavaharika Jiva is unaffected by them. Therefore, it is a Satyam for that. It is the Adhishtanam for that. The Chidabhasa is the Adhishtanam for everything in the Pratibhasika Jagat. That is why he said that Nidra, by covering up the Chidabhasa, projects a new word and a new jiva. Doesn't recognize there's avarana there, which is what we do. There's avarana of Brahman, akhandata avritya, jagat jivo prakalpayet. Vyavaharika jiva yaha tat jagat vyavaharikam. There we said tat jagat pratibhasikam. The pratibhasika jiva, the pratibhasika jagat sees as real. The vyavaharika jiva sees the vyavaharika jagat as real. But the vyavaharika jiva can understand the mithyatvam of the pratibhasika jagat. Same way, the paramarthika jiva can see the mithya of the vyavaharika jagat. Swami G, the pain I go through because of all this is real. Yes, it is real. Real as long as you see it from the perspective of vyavaharika, transactional. Just like your pain in the swapna is real. The pain, the grief, everything here is real, which is what Arjuna's problem was. That is why the second chapter is all about what is reality. Bhagavan starts straight away in the second chapter talking about Atma. Later, of course, he continues to talk about, but second chapter is full of Atma. What is the reality? You are not seeing the reality, and therefore you are considering what is happening to you as being real. Just like the fellow in the dream, he is hungry, not seeing that that is not real. So, tatkale satyavat bhati prabodha samaye sat asat satyam pratyeti vyavaharikam jagat and vyavaharika jiva. The vyavaharika jiva sees as real. But paramarthika jiva, paramarthika perspective, shows both to be only mithya. So all the three he shows in this, just so that we can understand. How do you understand what is satyam and what is mithya? If we can understand that, problem solved. There are no more problems. In the next verse, he talks about the paramarthika jiva. We have a jiva in the swapna, pratibhasika jiva. We have a jiva in the empirical world, vyavaharika jiva. Neither of them is real, we've seen. They are both mithya, seen from a different perspective. What is that perspective? Paramarthika perspective. That paramarthika jiva can be easily distinguished from these other two jivas. Paramarthika jiva tu brahmaikyam paramarthikam. Pratyeti vikshate nanyate vikshate Tanritatmana. That Paramarthika Jiva sees Brahma Aikyam. That's why I said Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. That Adhishthanam for all the false notions we get in the Vyavaharika Jiva is Brahman. That Adhishthanam on which we have all the false notion in the dream is Chidabhasa. He defined three things, remember. Avachinna Chaitanyam, Chidabhasa Chaitanyam, and Swapna Kalpita Jiva. So he's taken each one and shown how we should look at these. So he says, Paramarthika Jivastu, Brahmaikyam Paramarthikam, Pratyeti Vikshate Nanyate, Vikshate Tvanutatmana, Vikshate tu Anritatmana. Vikshate sees everything else. We will continue in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.